No one is winning, but that's not what they want you to believe, because every side is claiming victory while quietly avoiding the real scoreboard. And the real scoreboard, it doesn't measure explosions, it measures outcomes. And right now, the outcome is far more complicated than who's winning, because this war isn't being decided in one place. It's being decided across multiple battlefields at the same time: military, political, economic, psychological. And each one tells a different story. You've been trained to look at the most obvious one first: the battlefield. Missiles launched, targets destroyed, systems hit. From that perspective, the US and Israel look dominant: precision strikes, high-value targets eliminated, infrastructure damaged. It looks like control, it looks like advantage, it feels like progress. But that's only one layer, because war doesn't end when something is destroyed. It ends when something changes, and that hasn't happened. Iran is still standing, its leadership structure shaken but intact, its military damaged but functioning, its regional influence challenged but not erased. And that matters more than the damage, because the goal wasn't just to hit, it was to reshape, to deter, to force submission, to control behavior moving forward, and none of those outcomes are fully achieved. So what does that mean? It means Iran isn't winning, but it's not losing either. And in modern war, that's enough. Because survival is no longer passive, it's strategic. Absorb the pressure, extend the timeline, increase the cost. Force your opponent to keep spending, keep responding, keep committing, and eventually shift the burden back onto them. That's how weaker positions create leverage, not by overpowering, but by outlasting. And time is the most underestimated weapon in this war, because the longer this continues, the more expensive it becomes for everyone involved, and cost changes behavior. Now step back, look at the political layer. This is where certainty disappears, because politically, no one has achieved a clean objective. The US wanted control and deterrence. Israel wanted long-term security and elimination of threats. Iran wanted to resist pressure and maintain influence, but none of those goals were fully completed. Instead, each side got partial outcomes, mixed results, unfinished leverage, and when outcomes are incomplete, narratives take over. Each side declares strength, each side claims progress, each side avoids acknowledging the gaps, but underneath, the reality is unstable. Because unresolved conflict doesn't disappear. It lingers, it stretches, it becomes harder to end cleanly, and the longer it stretches, the more unpredictable it becomes. That's where risk enters, not from what's already happened, but from what hasn't been resolved. Now go deeper. Look at the economic layer. This is where the war expands beyond borders. Energy routes become pressure points, oil flows become leverage, shipping lanes become strategic tools, and suddenly, this isn't just a regional conflict anymore, it's global. Prices shift, fuel costs rise, markets react, governments adjust policy, businesses adapt, people feel it in their daily lives, not as war, but as pressure, subtle, persistent, unavoidable. And this is where the real redistribution of power begins, because when systems move, money moves, influence moves, opportunity moves, and not always toward the people fighting. While the US spends billions sustaining operations, while Israel extends its military commitments, while Iran absorbs ongoing pressure, other players step in, quietly, strategically, expanding influence in areas that are now unstable, positioning themselves where attention has shifted away. That's the part no one talks about, because it doesn't look dramatic, it doesn't make headlines, but it matters. Because wars don't just create winners on the battlefield, they create openings in the system, and those openings are where long-term power is built. Now go even deeper. Look at the psychological layer, because this war isn't just about systems, it's about perception. Control what people believe. and you influence how they react. If populations feel fear, they demand action. If they feel fatigue, they accept compromise. If they feel uncertainty, they hesitate, and hesitation is leverage. Every message, every headline, every statement shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. Because decisions are not made in a vacuum, they're made based on what people think is happening. Not always what is actually happening. That's why this layer matters. Because while missiles hit targets, narratives hit minds, and minds decide outcomes. Now zoom out completely. What do you actually see? Not a decisive war, not a clear winner, not a final outcome. You see a system under pressure. The US is spending resources to maintain control. Israel is extending itself to sustain security. Iran is absorbing pressure to maintain position. Each side is adjusting, adapting, responding, but none are finishing, and that's the pattern. Because this isn't a war designed for quick victory. It's a war of endurance, of pressure, of positioning, and in that kind of war, winning doesn't come from dominance, it comes from sustainability. Who can last longer? Who can spend less while maintaining influence? Who can absorb pressure without breaking? Who can adapt faster than the system shifts? That's the real competition, and right now. That competition is still open, because each side holds something. The US and Israel hold military advantage. Iran holds time and resilience. The global system holds the real consequences, and those consequences are still unfolding, quietly, gradually, across economies, across politics, across perception. So when you ask, who's really winning? You're looking for clarity, a name, a side, a conclusion. But this war doesn't give you that, because this isn't a war of clear victories. It's a war of shifting positions, and positions change over time. What looks like strength today can become weakness tomorrow. What looks like survival today can become leverage later. That's why the answer isn't fixed, it's evolving. And the people who understand that don't focus on who is ahead right now. They focus on who is positioning best for what comes next, because the final outcome won't be decided in a single moment. It will be revealed over time, through pressure, through cost, through adaptation. So the better question is, who is gaining leverage while everyone else is distracted? Who is strengthening quietly while others are reacting? Who is preparing for the next phase, while the current one is still unfolding? Because that's who wins. Not the one who strikes hardest, but the one who remains strongest when the system settles. And right now, that answer is still forming, which means this war is far from over. If this changed your perspective, subscribe, because the next video might change your life.